guys, we're live. Today we got our second podcast with UFC fighter Jason Witt. You can say hello to the stream.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
So we're gonna get started on a few things. We're gonna talk about the UFC, of course. There's a big thing that happened last night. We're gonna talk about Jason's career, and everything else, whatever he wants to talk about too. Because there's a segment where you want to choose. So we'll just get started. Tell everyone about your career. We'll get you started with UFC.
Man, I got started about 15 years ago. It was kind of a combination of a bunch of stuff happening all at once. My uncle was a professional kickboxer and boxer at the time, and I
Nice.
was working for him, and we ended up just started training, and I kind of just got into just wanting to fight. I was never a violent person. I just wanted to compete. I like competing. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I like winning in competition. At the same period in time, the people across the street from me were doing like strength conditioning, flipping tires, and running around the neighborhood. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, why
Damn.
are you doing this? And I started talking to them, and they're like, hey, we train MMA. If you want to be a fighter, here's a gym in Kearney, Missouri. Come check it out. And so like all this like happened in like a week or a month of each other, and ended up just training and really enjoyed it. Took a fight. Honestly, I think 6 weeks into like training. So I wasn't like didn't have a lot of training before I started fighting. Lost that first fight, and I was like 21 years old, man. And
Dang.
to to say at the least I was a cocky little asshole at 21 years old is I was an asshole. Let's put it that way. So at 21, losing a fight, I didn't think it was possible. I was cocky. I didn't think he could beat me up, and I lost the fight. And for me, that really is just kind of a turning point that I just started training more, and I put in, 5, 6 days a week in training, and just kept going until I'd go from one gym and then go to the next gym, and I just find a better gym. I pretty much just worked my way up till I was the best one at the gym until I found a gym that I couldn't be the best one at the gym, and that's where I stayed at. So like I just turned into a career that I enjoy doing.
Dude, that's awesome. From going off from a spark, from just being cocky, and then after you get that like loss, it just shakes you up and wants you to just get better and just work harder. Um, so when did you start fighting in the UFC?
I made my UFC debut in March of 2020.
Nice.
I made my debut on 48 hours notice
Dane, holy
against
cow.
Takasho Stati. He was I guess this was like the pinnacle peak period of COVID, and his
Okay.
opponent got COVID, and I got called at 1 o'clock on a Thursday, right? So mind you, weigh-ins are at 9 a.m. on Friday. I
Yeah.
got called. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and
Okay.
so I mean it's a hour trip to the airport from where I'm at. It's so so when I got the call at 1 o'clock, I work as a personal trainer. I own my own gym. I canceled all my clients for the rest of the day. Said, hey, I gotta go do this, and then got on a flight by 3 o'clock. Was in Vegas by 6. Started cutting weight at 7. Cut 13 pounds in 12 hours, and fought Takashi Sato on 48 hours notice. It was not something I want to do again, but it got me in the UFC and it got me a contract. That's all that mattered to me.
That's awesome. With going off on the fights, I've never heard somebody having like a 48-hour notice. I've only heard like a week or a couple days, but like a 48-hour notice, that's like you got like
Uh,
what?
Kevin Kroom, Kevin Kroom, a teammate of mine, took a 48-hour notice fight on
Okay.
his UFC debut. Knocked out Roosevelt Roberts in 30 seconds. Got a 50K
Damn.
bonus. James Krause, my coach, took a 24-hour notice fight. Literally showed up at 185 pounds a day of weigh-ins and fought the next day. So I mean,
Dang.
our gym's kind of notorious for
Last
taking short
second
notice
stuff.
fights. We'll
Yeah.
fight. Yeah, we'll fight anywhere, anytime, any way. It doesn't really matter.
That's incredible. Um so what was your general feeling of getting into the UFC or just fighting in general?
Man, it was never something I planned on doing.
Yeah.
Fighting was never something I planned on doing. It was just something I fell into and fell in love with. It was never like this is my career path. This is where I want to be. I want to be a UFC champion. I just love doing it and
Hmm.
just wanted to go to training. I just wanted to learn. I want to get better. I don't like people being better than me at anything, and fighting especially because fighting is kind of the end all be all of like men in a sense and women, I
Yeah.
guess. You know what I mean? Like you can always have the like, oh well, my car's nicer than yours. Oh, my girlfriend's hotter than yours. Oh, I have more money than you. My job's better. Like, yeah,
Yeah. True.
I could whoop your ass. Like that's
Yeah.
what it comes down to. Now you could also say, well, a rich person can hire 10 bodyguards to beat your ass. Yes, but that makes that person still a bitch. In my
Yeah.
opinion, if you can't fight for
I
yourself, that
totally
the
agree.
fighting is
Yeah.
the end all be all. Fighting is the end all be all of the conversation. Like I can fuck you up, you can fuck me up. That's how it works.
Yeah, I totally agree. If someone has like bodyguards, or you got to be the one to fight. You can't be have somebody else like going in, stepping in for you because you just look like a legit bitch. Just no offense to anyone who does that, but it's just like you know, can't do nothing about it. Um,
No, it's just I feel it's also the ultimate way of like earning respect. You know what I mean? Like when you go in the octagon, you fight somebody, win, lose, or draw, you respect that person for spending their time in there in the octagon in the UFC with you. Or in a regular fight, doesn't matter. But you know what I mean? Like
yeah, of
that's how you
course.
earn respect, and that's the I think that's kind of the ultimate form of respect in a sense.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree. I see like most fighters when they end a fight, they give a hug, they pay respect. It's just like that's like the love of the game. That's what I love seeing. It's just like you don't want to go in there. You finish a fight, then you just start heat again, or just like start trash talking. You know, you can do that, but like, and the second you show respect to everyone, it's just like, you know, that's what everyone wants to see, and that's like the right thing to do. And it just
For
shows
sure.
like both of us fought. We fought a hell of a match, or both went in there, pay respect because you don't know what could happen to the other person, you know, or to the person who's fighting too. So, you know, just a lot of respect for you guys going in there and just giving it your all because you never know what could happen. And I can tell you that everybody in this world, like UFC, is picked up hard on like everywhere. Colleges, everyone's watching it. It's just like I think over the past 5 years that UFC has grown like high.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like it's always good seeing a lot of people knowing like what's going on, and like back then, like a couple years ago when I talked to people about it, they didn't know anything, you know? And it's just like
Yeah.
I
It
watched.
still shocks me. It still shocks me that there's people that have no idea what the UFC is. Like they've never heard of
Yeah.
it. They
Okay.
don't know what a fight. I'm like, I just don't understand how you like I'm not a very well versed person. Like I don't care about a lot of stuff. Like I have my
Yeah.
specific things that I care about.
Mm.
But it's like people are like, oh, you've like having to explain the difference between the UFC and MMA, which is the exact same thing. People just don't understand that.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that still shocks me. That still shocks me. I guess that's just me being in my own personal bubble, but it still shocks me. People are like, what's the UFC? Like, what is that? Is
Yeah.
that karate or is that taekwondo? Like, what? You really don't know that? But
I
it's fine.
mean,
It's interesting to me.
yeah, it's just like I think a lot of people will end up knowing what it is, but like when people say they don't know what it is, it like surprised me because if they watch sports, they should know at least something about the UFC because I know Sports
Yeah.
Center at least puts like a segment of like oh fights tonight, something like this, you know. And I really
Like,
think
have you not seen Conor McGregor on any Sports
yeah,
Center or
it's
you know what I mean any
exactly.
headline news? Like you said, I don't know. It's
Mayweather,
different to
like
me.
all these people know who Mayweather is, like you know, there's not a lot of people who know like Usman, all those other people. I mean, like if you watch UFC, you're gonna know who they are, but like if
Of course.
like Sports Center, they're not really put up on there. That's just kind of how it goes. But with like McGregor, people should start knowing who Paddy Pimblett is now, just because he's growing as an influencer, even though he's a
For sure.
phenomenal guy. But yeah, him. You got I think most people are just gonna know McGregor and Mayweather just because of all the heat and all the money they make and how much they're on Sports Center. Kind of just talked about.
Sure.
I mean,
UFC is a money game. boxing is a money game. It's all who makes the most money. It's you're gonna know the most people. Like Ronda Rousey said, she's like, I don't get paid the most as a female because I'm a female. I get paid the most because I bring in the most money.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor brings in the most money. Whoever brings the most money is gonna get the most attention. That's how every business world works.
yeah, of course. Um, Going off on like UFC and your debut, what did you think about stepping into the octagon when you had your first fight?
It felt normal. I
Yeah.
mean, you fight at the Apex. There's no fans. There's nobody there. My fight before
Mhm.
that, I was in front of like 5,000 fans in a pretty large arena.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Um, so I mean, it's nerve wracking. You know, you get the phone call, you got to be at the airport. It was a very nerve wracking, exciting feeling. But I mean,
Yeah.
walking the octagon, I really felt like I belonged there. I knew I'd earned my spot there. Obviously didn't win the fight, but I mean, I knew I could do some damage in the UFC and actually belong in the UFC.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my god, like going into there, at least like with no fans, because Apex has no fans. Is that like 2022? They don't have fans for that either.
So 2020 they had zero fans, like no stands, no
Okay,
bleachers, no nothing. And then nowadays you have, I want to say like maybe 800 seats, like tops. But
dang.
they're like $1,500 a seat or $3,000 a seat. I don't know 100%. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. Like I tried
Yeah,
to get tickets for my family to come in, and it was just a bigger fiasco than I wanted it to be.
yeah. I wanted to go out in September for a fight just to get out there, go to one, fly out there. And I wanted to go just because for the times I wanted to go to the Sanhagen fight, and I know that's Apex. I'm pretty sure, and I couldn't find
Yeah.
anything for it. But if it's like over $1,000, I'm probably not gonna go for that. But I'm thinking more of a
No, it's just
like a Chiamev versus Diaz fight. I think just because
Shema.
it's in the time, and I think it'd be a good fight. I mean,
Really? Think so? You think Diaz gonna get actually mauled? I think he's gonna get mauled, but that's just my opinion. People can put Diaz in there. And I don't. I never thought the Diaz brothers were that great of fighters. Not talking
yeah.
shit against them. I think Shemaev is an absolute monster,
Oh
and
yeah, I
he's
also
big.
think
He's
Chimaev is
relevant.
gonna win. Yeah, of course. I just
But
think, I mean, it's also good to see Diaz in there against him. Like he's gonna get a vet. Um, it's always
yeah,
nice for like younger guys who are new to the UFC. Like they get a veteran in their fight, so it's like, oh, like maybe this guy's gonna get the absolute shit taken out of him, but still, it's good seeing him fight him in the ring.
yeah. I mean, Shemaev fought Gilbert Burns, and I think Gilbert Burns gave him one of the best fights he's ever had, and it was a
Oh yeah,
it was a
yeah, yeah.
good all around fight. So I mean, that's
That
Gilbert
was a
Burns is a
yeah.
vet. I think Gilbert Burns mauls Diaz too, though. So I mean, I don't understand why Diaz is still there.
That was a really good fight with that one in decision, right? Pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was a
yeah.
really good
Chimaev
fight.
won that one.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely stood out that he was winning that fight. I remember watching that. Um, so going off of how was it fighting in front of fans when you stepped in, just with a ton of people? I know it could be nerve wracking, but I want to hear your intel on that.
Yeah, it really wasn't different. I expected to be, but I mean, I got to slap hands with fans. They were right close, and my wife and two buddies of mine came out of the fight, and
That's
they were
awesome.
standing. My buddy was literally standing as I walked out. He was standing right there,
Oh, that's
which was pretty
awesome.
cool. So, I mean, that aspect was pretty neat. But the fans, like in the actual octagon, didn't. I mean, obviously, the fight didn't last very long, so we don't even fucking talk about that. But
Yeah.
but
Nah.
like being in the octagon wasn't much different. It didn't sound different. It didn't. I couldn't hear my coach as well as the Apex and stuff like that. I was obviously quieter in the Apex, but being
Yeah.
in front of fans really wasn't too much different than I thought it would be.
Mhm. I mean, that's good. You kind of like settle down on it. And you don't really like. You're just in there to just kick the shit out of the guy and fight your hardest, and
Yeah.
just you gotta like ignore the fans. They're not gonna say anything. You can barely hear them because it's just super loud in there. I mean, you just gotta focus on that guy. I think that's just what everyone does. They just plan it out and they don't listen, then they just go off and fight and put on a hell of a show. But you never know. All right. You want to switch to talking about UFC, or is there anything else you want to talk about going off of your career? Anything you want to
It's
tell
up to you,
us?
man.
Well, it's up to you.
I'm
I
down.
mean,
I'm
I
down for anything.
okay. All right, sweet. If you want to go off on UFC, uh, I know there's a big ass thing about last night. Don't know. You know what I'm talking about with
I
the
actually haven't watched. I
huh?
actually haven't watched the fights last night. I was out last night with some friends and didn't get a chance to watch the fight, so I was gonna watch them this morning.
Well, do you know what happened?
I heard Leon. I saw Leon Edwards won. I've seen the highlights of it, but I didn't. I know he got.
Okay, so you
I
saw
know
the
Usman
knockout,
got head. Yeah, he got head kicked, switch kicked. Yeah.
dude. That's just like so shocking because like I thought Leon Edwards was gonna get the shit taken out of him. That's just like my opinion.
Uh, he has every skill to beat him. Like the places that Kamar Usman's good at, uh, Leon Edwards is good too. Like his clinch, his elbows,
Mm-hmm.
like those types of little things. And he's long. He's a big dude, man.
Oh yeah,
Like Usman's a big guy, muscular wise, but Leon Edwards is a tall,
yeah, super.
lengthy
Yeah.
fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
That.
I mean, he had all the correct things to beat Usman.
Yeah.
And I mean he's fought him before, so he's had a chance to understand how he feels. He's seen his wrestling and takedown, so I mean, he did a good job taking like stopping. He actually took. I saw the first round. He took Usman down in the first round and mounted him. So I mean,
Oh really?
yeah,
Okay.
he has all the right skills to beat Usman. Honestly, did. I'm gonna go watch after this, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you also had last night with Rockhold retiring. After Costa beating
yeah,
him, dude. It's just like it's really sad going off of like when I fight, when I watch fights and I see that people retired, like, yeah, Luke Rockhold was a phenomenal fighter. And then
Mhm.
also going off of when, Cowboy Cerrone retired. That was just like a little emotional for a bunch of people just because he had his kids up there. I mean,
Yeah,
you kind of knew it was coming. And just like, it was he's been losing and, you kind of just had to say it's
yeah,
done.
man. He was a world champion. He got to the top pinnacle of the sport.
Yep.
Same thing. Like Uriah Hall's retired, James Crouch retired, Cowboys running. I mean, you gotta understand these guys have been doing this for dude, a long time. Like
Mm-hmm.
15 years is a long time in the sport. Like that's what you put your body through. Like especially like I know personally what you're putting your body through. Especially 35. Like I'm 35 years old. I'm 36. Like
Yeah.
at this age, your body doesn't recover like it used to. It's a lot harder. So I mean, I get these guys been doing this sport a long time, and you got to understand that this has an end. Like this is not like professional. Most professional football players are out of the NFL by 35, 36. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you have to understand that fighting can't last forever. This
Yep.
isn't something you can do forever. You got to find a way to take the cash stream you get from this and put it into other stuff, invest this so you get it. Because we don't have retirement. We don't have anything. I mean, if you blow all your money, you have nothing to show for the rest of your fighting career, which
Yeah.
is kind of terrible. But we're getting old, man. Like this era is we were still the guys that started off like every practice 5 days a week was just sparring. Like there was no drilling, there was no teaching,
Yeah.
there was no learning. It was just sparring, like just beating the shit out of each other. That's how you fought. Um, so I mean, it's to see Rockhold like that. I kind of understand it. He's made his
Mm-hmm.
fame. He's been a world champion. He's a phenomenal fighter.
Yeah.
He's made his money. So I mean, it's hard to do too. Cutting weight is terrible for your body. The sport's hard, so
Mm-hmm.
I get it. More respect to him, but it's a hard game.
Yeah. So, did you see any other fights in that card other than Edwards, Usman?
Uh, watch the Jose Aldo. Can't
Oh,
even pronounce that guy's name.
how did that go? I did not see that one.
Uh, uh, Aldo lost by a decision. Good fight, but
Oh, jeez.
Aldo was pretty much got wrestle fucked the entire time.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that if you're like a smaller guy, and also it's like if you're not a wrestler, it's kind of gonna be tough for you if you can't get out of those holds and everything.
Well, I mean, you have to understand that even though he's not doing anything from a takedown,
Hmm.
Aldo's still losing. Like if you look at the judge's eyes, he's being put against the cage, he's getting beat there. Like
Yeah,
regardless if the guy's doing damage or taking him down or hitting him, he's still losing because he's controlling the whole entire situation.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, what do you think about the recent fight cards? Like a couple weeks ago, you had Adesanya fight um, Weir. You had just a lot of the
And
youngsters like Gary. Gary fought Gabe Green, and then I'm just going off of
yeah,
what I watched. And then you had UFC London with Patty, also breaking down versus Levitt. Then you had Aspinall getting hurt in like 13 seconds, which was really, really, really shitty, just in my opinion. Just because, this guy is put out that he's like, he wanted this fight. And it was in London, like I think that was his hometown, I believe. And he
right.
wanted this fight for many months, and just like, when you get hurt like that in front of all your fans in your hometown, it's just really sucks.
Yeah, nobody wants to go out that way, and the opponent doesn't want to win that way either. It's
Yeah.
just it's
Hmm.
just an unfortunate situation that I don't know if Aspinall had a previous injury to that, or that was just it happened right then or not. I didn't get to watch that specific fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, nobody wants to go out that way. Um, Man, you got Patty Plume's a rising star. He's good. He's durable. My coach said he didn't see him submitting Jordan Levitt, and he made him
Didn't
eat his words. He
didn't around
submitted him.
first round, yeah. Right?
Yeah, man. So the kid's got that X factor. He has that bring people into the crowd and make him like him type Conor McGregor type situation, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing to have in the sport because you're gonna get paid for that. Like I said earlier, you
I
bring in fans, you bring in the money, you're gonna get paid for it, and that's he's gonna get taken care of because he is the way he is.
Yeah, I also think it was really just going up on a step of that, of going off of talking about after his fight because he broke down, going off of suicide and all
Yeah.
that stuff, mental breakdowns. I think it was good for him to step up and talk about that, just because seeing like on all these social medias that he's actually put a toll on kids' lives, and even older people's life, just because I know the
Yeah.
whole situation of how someone takes their life and like how it can mentally break people down. Just because that happened with me, I lost like a best friend just to that, and it's just
Yeah.
like when that happens, wanted to know what happened, what was wrong, and him going up into that and talking about that really like game changer. He had he had everyone watching, and soon enough he had almost the whole world watching because it's going on social
Right.
media, it's going on this, going on that, and I just think after that he really put a big toll. Even though he can be like the Conor McGregor guy and seem like maybe cocky. I don't think he's cocky, but um, he's a really like deep down he's a really good guy, and even his partner Meatball Molly, she's amazing too. I just think
Yeah.
that like that whole spark was. I mean, it was good to just go out there and say that.
Yeah, man. One sorry about your friend. I had a buddy of mine's son who's killed himself, so I completely understand how it
Yeah.
affects people. Um, but yeah, to go on live TV and kind of bring that subject to light, it brings an awareness and a relativity. Like people can relate to it, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can unfortunately people don't talk about as men being, men don't talk to each other about that shit and that type of stuff. And it's really sad.
Yeah.
And to bring that into the light and bring that to a relatable platform is really smart on his part. And it's sad that he had to go through that. And just but to understand that he's not alone and everybody's not alone, to be able to people understand that this is they can talk about it and it feels better is really cool for him to do. And it really, well, I mean, I don't want to say it rose his stardom because that's kind of a fucked up way to rise your stardom, but to bring that out to light
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, this is actually happening. It's a cool way to use your platform and to use your kind of like celebrity ish.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just think that it's really good thing that he put a lot of like people to think like, man, this isn't the right thing, you know. I think like once he put that word out and seeing that people are actually like listening to that is like that's a game changer. And you want people to listen, and people never get told that, like you said. A lot of guys don't talk about it, and that's 100% true. Like it's just like a thing you don't want people to know you're if from a guy's perspective you don't want to know like you're going through that shit like nobody wants to like you don't want nobody to know that because you don't know how they're gonna react to that. That's
Yeah, but the same thing Patty said. It's like, hey man, like I'd rather have a shit phone call than a phone call about a dead friend. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You gotta have that conversation. You gotta and I've talked to my friends about it too, even after that, even after Patty, like, hey man, you got shit going on. Like I'll call my friends, like, hey, everything good. You know what I mean? Just to make sure. I mean, just it's better to
Yeah,
have that conversation than have a non-conversation.
yeah, I always check that in with my best friend. That was my best friend was actually my brother, so going through all that was just like a struggle, you know. It was so you know what you know you've gone through the same thing just with the best friend. So it's tough. I mean, but you just gotta get through it, and everything you do is just gotta go towards them, and they're up there looking at you and just wanting you to do better, and you just gotta keep going for them. You know, it's the main thing.
Yeah.
All right. Any cards you want to talk about upcoming? If you want to put any bats on all of them, like just say like if that's not your thing, that's what I did last time. So that's why I was just wondering.
Uh, I mean, you said bets. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
just not betting, not with money, but like actual,
No,
like
man. I mean, I don't
I
even know who
think
James
this person.
Krause is and what he's doing, but he has a whole Discord of people, a bunch of betting sites and stuff like
Yeah,
that he does bets on. I don't bet a lot. It's not my thing.
yeah, just
I
like
should because I should do it, but I'm just lazy and don't.
mm-hmm. No, just going off of like going on fight cards and saying like you think this person's gonna win, why you think it's a good matchup. Not really betting, it's just like saying like
Yeah.
who's gonna win. If you want to do that, I can do that
Uh,
too.
I got a I got a buddy of mine, Trey Ogden is fighting September 17th.
Okay.
And I've been training with that kid for 15 years, and so to see him in the UFC, and he fought Jordan Levitt before
Okay.
Patty did, probably about 2 months before Patty did. Lost the decision, looked really good. I think he could have won the fight, but he made just one stupid mistake.
Yeah.
But that kid's when he shows up, he is a fucking monster. He is a student of the game. Like he's that type of like literal samurai. Lives on a farm, raises chickens, raises his own food, like just samurai lifestyle type dude. Trey Allen, he's super good guy, super good fighter. So I'm excited to watch him fight in 4 weeks. Honestly,
Yeah. Hey. Okay. One sec. My bad, Jason.
all good.
Just a couple buddies, you know, living in a house. It's a little tough. I live with like 20 people, so it's like everyone's just wondering what I was doing. I let them know, but nobody really sees the chat. But yeah, going off of if you want to go off on fights and like choose what like who you think's gonna win, I'm down to do that.
I haven't looked at any fights coming up to give you a outlook on any of those, so I don't really have much on that one.
I could look up the card if you want. Looking at, I know. Oh shoot, the next fight is Why is the internet slow? The next fight is it's Gain versus Tuivasa.
Yeah.
My prediction on that, I think Tuivasa will win. I don't know about you.
Tuvas is good. He's durable, but
Yeah,
he's way smaller than Cyril Gane, who's a fantastic
yeah, and he's
kickboxer.
freaking huge.
And
Yeah,
and I don't see Tuivasa taking him down or grappling with him. So it's really, I mean, it's pretty much kickboxer versus his boxer. And I think Cyril Gahn has the advantage in that just because that's his game, his style.
Okay. Um, I also think, I mean, yeah, Tuvasa also gets super tired in there. Like you can
The
tell, like,
heavyweights, they get tired.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Um, going off of like you saw the Derek Lewis fight in him, there was a point where both of them were brawling. You could tell both of those guys were super super tired, and I think him throwing that elbow was just like the main point because both when they were super tired, falling like you can tell one of them was gonna break. It was like a very close call, and you saw whoever made the next punch or like a big hit, that person's down. So
For
ended up
sure.
Lewis doing it. So that's why I think maybe Tai Tuivasa could have a chance just because he has um, the good boxing for it, and he's strong. He's
Yeah.
got strong punches, but on like the kickboxing
He's
and movement, I think you have a point.
he's he's good. I just think Gahn is gonna be too much for him,
Yeah, I mean you're gonna
unfortunately.
know a lot more than me, just just because
I mean, I'd love to see a shoey at the end of it, but
yeah,
it
yeah,
might not happen.
that's what everyone looks forward to. I always like seeing that. Oh, then you also got Whitaker versus Vittori. That's gonna be a good one, I think. I don't know, like in my pick, who's gonna win that. Don't know about you. Um,
Uh, I got Whitaker all day.
okay,
He's that guy who's at the top of the division that can't get past
Adesanya.
Assad. Yeah. So, but I think he's way better than Martin Vittori. If he can stop Vittori's grappling, I think he's definitely gonna have the speed and striking advantage over Vittori.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that Whitaker would end up beating him. I just think, I mean, they fought. Adesanya and him have fought 2 times, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and each time it's really close. Decision, knockout.
Yeah.
But that last fight was a really good fight. Um, next people kind of have some. Next fight is Alessio Di. I'm probably just gonna win this name hard. Di Chirico, and then Roman Kopolov. Don't know if
I don't
you
know,
you don't know
don't know
any.
anything about them.
Me neither.
Uh-uh.
But Kopolov's 8-2. Di Chirico's 13-6. Don't really know. That's kind of just like a
Nope.
guessing game. you
You got nothing
never
on that one.
you never know what's gonna happen just because even if you look at the records. Um,
Yeah, records don't mean shit.
I know. There's usually a lot of people just bet on records, but you never know when there's gonna be an upset. Yeah, there's not really big names that stand out to me. Like the next fight I'm going to, it's UFC 279, September 10th.
Yeah.
PMF you said would destroy Nate Diaz. Trying to think of other names on here. That let's see. Johnny Walker is fighting. He's fighting Ian Kutlaba. Don't know if
Yeah.
you.
The Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think
Yeah.
on that
Always
fight?
dressed up as a Hulk. I mean, it's up or down. You said Kulaba versus who? Say it again.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah. Man, they're both so. I think Johnny Walker's just young in the game. He hasn't had too much experience with it, but I think Kulaba will probably end up catching him somehow
Yeah.
or wrestle fucking the entire time.
Yeah. Totally agree. Um, trying to think. Um, there's a lot of people that aren't up in my house, and we have an event, and everyone's freaking. If you hear like the door or anything moving, that's my fault. Not trying to get that sound in there. That's just how my brothers are. But yeah. I mean, going off on that fight, there's a lot of like I don't know. It's a little. They don't have. Wait. They don't have prelims or early, so it's kind of like in a
They do.
chunk.
They're just probably not scheduled out yet. Yet.
Oh, okay. So that's just how it works.
Usually they put the main card out, and then you got to go somewhere else to find the prelims.
Okay. Well, yeah. It'll probably.
Sometimes.
Do they
Actually,
do they put the prelims out like a week or two before?
no, it's just usually they'll show the main card, and then like you have to click somewhere else to go to the prelims.
Okay. So usually when I go on like the UFC stuff, they show all of it. So just like we're not seeing
Yeah.
it. All right. But is there anything that you want to talk about? Because like I asked everyone on the podcast, like there's a subject or something like you're really interested in, other than fighting. Like I had a person who's into sports, trailblazers. So if there's anything,
Man, I'm into golf. I know that
okay,
sounds ridiculous, but I've been playing golf for the past year, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I've watched every tournament. I play 3 or 4 times a week.
okay,
It's something that I just absolutely fell in love with. My
that's
wife and I
really
actually just
cool.
joined the country club just to play golf.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. My brother was really big on golf, so like going off of, he had really no one to play with, and we actually live on a golf course, so, he got me involved into it, and ever since like he passed, I've been playing it, and it's just like, it's a really like de-stressor. It's you're just playing the game, and it's super calm, and you're always there. I was always out in the driving range this summer just to get better,
Yeah.
and it's just like super fun. I honestly love it. Do you have like a favorite golfer?
Not really. I got a couple people that I like watching, like Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler,
Mm-hmm.
these types of newer guys that are
Yeah,
coming up.
those are familiar names.
Yeah.
But yeah, going off of that, are you into any other sports like hometown
No, man,
team?
I'm not a team sports fan. I
Yeah.
don't like team sports. I don't enjoy watching. I'll play them all day long. I'll play football. I'll play baseball. I'll do that stuff all day long. But to watch it is just I have zero interest in watching any of it. I don't know why. I don't like team sports in the aspect of I enjoy individual sports that are based solely on you and yourself winning or losing, right? So MMA, golf, 100 meter sprint, in the Olympics, stuff like that. Like those types of sports
Yeah.
are my type of sports because I've always been the person that like if I do a sport, I'm trying 100%, and if I have somebody else is being lazy and doing 50%, we lose because that really gets me. It's like I don't want somebody else's outcome to create my outcome. So I want to be able to control if I win or lose. You know what I mean? And that's why I
Yeah.
like golf. That's why I like fighting. That's why I like competition. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't like team sports as much. It's not
More
my
of
thing. So
like
I don't.
watching a solo thing than watching like a whole team, because you want to see
Yeah,
like my standpoint of it. You want to see the person like themselves do the work, other than having like a whole team effort.
yeah. And MMA is a sport. Or MMA is a team sport. It really is. It is and it isn't. Like you
Yeah.
have a whole team that prepares you to fight. You have
Coaches. Yep.
coaches. You have teammates.
Mm-hmm.
You have all that stuff. Golf is
Yep.
the same. You have a personal trainer. You have a swing coach. You have a caddy.
Yep.
It's kind of a team sport. At the same time, it comes down to your decision,
Yeah.
your mental aspect of how the sport works, and that's what I think I enjoy the most about it.
Mm-hmm. Going off of like that, being like in UFC, I mean, yeah, you got the coaches and everything, but it's like they're training and them helping you goes off to you, because you're the person who's stepping in there, you're the person who's golfing, you're the person that everyone's looking at. So it's just like
Right.
you got all this help from the coaches, and man, it's like I bet it's an amazing journey to get that help. But you go in there, and you gotta show that work, that hard work you put in from the coaches and everything, and that's all on you going in.
100%.
Don't know what you think about that, but I think that's a good explanation of that. In my opinion, could be on anybody
Yeah.
else's. But is there anything you want to talk about before we wrap up? Just because it's almost
I'm
ten
good to go,
o'clock.
my man.
Okay, sweet. Well, just gonna say thanks for everyone who was watching the stream. Peace out, guys. Just stay a second. But we'll see you guys later. I'll let you know on Instagram when there's more podcasts. But really appreciate you, Jason, being on here. It was awesome. It was a hell of a stream. I hope you liked it. I just really appreciate you coming on.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me on.